Number 16. The boundary of a system does not allow exchange of either mass or energy, and in both forms, that means heat and work or work. So, both heat and work in the form of energy not allowed, and also mass not allowed. So, what is the exactly system? So, let us look at the definitions very briefly. Open system. In an open system, the exchange of both mass and energy allowed. So let's say this is my system, and of course outside the definite boundary it is the surrounding. So in case of an open system, exchange of both mass and energy between the system and the surrounding allowed. For a closed system, mass not allowed. So before that, let's give an example of an open system. Let's say you have water here, and I'm adding water and continuously heating this one. So here, if this is my system, so I'm adding both mass and energy. So this is an example of an open system. In a closed system, mass not allowed, but energy in the form of heat and work, that is allowed. So what could be a system? Let's say if you have boiling water, and if you have a boiling water and you put a balloon into it, so that means no mass can be exchanged between the balloon and the water, but heat in the form of energy can transfer from water to the balloon. So mass is not allowed, but energy in the form of heat and work, I will explain what is work, that is allowed from the surrounding to the system, or from the system to the surrounding. So that's an example of a closed system. What is an isolated system? Mass not allowed. So if you have, let's say, a closed boundary system and it is very well insulated, and if you have some gas, let's say here, so exchange of mass or energy between the system is not allowed, and exchange of heat in the form of work, let's say shaft work or compression, between the system and the surrounding is also not allowed. So that's an example of an isolated system, that is mass not allowed, energy both in the form of heat and work not allowed. So that is an example of an isolated system. Adiabatic system is kind of close between the isolated system and there is a close resemblance between the isolated and the adiabatic system, but there is a definite difference. What's the difference? In case of an adiabatic system, mass is in fact it is in adiabatic system, mass may be allowed under certain situation. Let's say in case of flowing water, which is an insulated pipe. I'll give an example. Mass may be allowed, energy in the form of heat not allowed, but in the form of work is allowed. So for an adiabatic system, mass may be allowed, energy in the form of heat not allowed, but work is allowed. I'll try to give an example. Let's say if you have a piston and cylinder system that is very well insulated. So here there is no exchange of heat. Of course, there is no exchange of mass also, but as I said, mass may or may not be allowed. In case of flowing system, this may be allowed, but here thermal energy, exchange of thermal energy between the system and the surrounding not allowed, but work, let's say this is the boundary work, if I compress it very quickly, that is allowed. So the difference between the isolated and the adiabatic system is that in case of an isolated system, mass not allowed, but in case of an adiabatic system, there is no such restriction. In case of isolated system, the energy both in the form of heat and work not allowed, but in case of an adiabatic system, only heat in the form of energy is not allowed, but work is allowed. So, in this particular case, we see that exchange of mass and energy both in the form of heat and work not allowed. So, what is the correct answer? So, A is the correct option.